Love can make you blind and also apparently catch bullets. Just please don't try that at home. It's not going to work. Yes, we are back for more analysis of Tatsuki Fujimoto's 17-26. This time, I want to focus in on episode 2 and episode 3. For those that missed my first episode impressions, yes, I have watched pretty much the entirety of Tatsuki Fujimoto's 17-26. It's just that as I was watching it, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do a full review. I actually want to analyze each of these episodes because each of these actually has their own story and some really fascinating things behind them that I want to dig into. And yes, unfortunately, episode 2 wasn't that interesting, and I don't think I'll have that much to talk about, so I thought, hey, let's throw episode 3 in with it, because episode 3 is more of a fun one, but they both have some things to discuss, so we're going to get into that. First, I want to talk about another good reason why these two are together for an episode analysis, and that's because, yes, Lapin did both of these 2 episodes, so they look very similar to each other, and I would argue they're both equally the least of the most animated out of the entire series. Like, we went from episode 1, which had some crazy animation pieces in it, to these 2 that are just a lot more subtle. They're both kind of stationed in like 1 or 2 locations. There's not too much moving around, and they're a lot more stylized. And yes, a lot of people will notice that there's a little bit of a feel to these 2 episodes, specifically episode 3, which we find out that, yes, the director that worked on episode 3 did a lot of work for Shaft. And you could see that, especially in episode 3. I would argue, I think there's a little bit of that also bleeding into episode 2 as well, as I seen there was a lot of moments where I'm like, man, this looks like Zetsuba Sensei. I was like, this looks like Zetsuba. I mean, most people will probably say it looks like Monogatari series. Same thing. Zetsuba Sensei came before Monogatari series, and they have this similar thing going for both of them. They have that same stylized feel to it. It cuts to really random shots, blank areas with, text on the screen, that kind of stuff. It's very Monogatari. And I think that's what really kind of carried these 2 episodes, despite the fact that there's, again, not like a bunch of crazy animation stuff happening. They just visually have stuff thrown at you that sort of keeps your attention. Anyways, let's start things off with episode 2. Yes, Sasaki stopped a bullet. Don't try it at home, like I said before. But yes, this one opens up with Sasaki, who is apparently really, really interested in his teacher, Kawaguchi. Now, it doesn't really say love at first. It kind of indicates this idea this guy just has a lot of respect and admiration for his teacher. He says that he's got a tightness in his chest. And, he's got that feeling in there. He's not really sure why. He's attending, like, supplementary classes, voluntarily. Like, he just wants to constantly see this teacher. She is a god to him. This is a goddess before me. And then, yes, out of nowhere, a guy enters a room. Nobody looks back. Like, even Sasaki doesn't even notice the guy walk in the room, which is kind of weird. Guy walks in the room and just shoots the air. Yes, a terrorist enters the room. No, he's not a terrorist. I'm sorry. He would never do that. He's just really mad at the teacher. I like the fact that they immediately go, it's a terrorist. He's like, no, I wouldn't do that. He's carrying a gun into a classroom of kids, wanting to do something, exact justice on the teacher. And the big hang up right here is what they classify him as. Don't call me that. That's not why I'm here. How dare you say that? Anyways, yes, he tells everybody to shut up. And then he says that Kawaguchi has pretty much ruined his life. Apparently, the 2 of them went to high school together, and his grades were great. He was planning on going to Tokyo U. He had the grades for it and everything. But then she ruined it all. This guy apparently fell apart the moment that she rejected him when he confessed to her. And apparently now he wants to blame her for it. Which, yes, I do kind of understand this idea where somebody has gone through something really horrible. They were madly in love with somebody and they turned them down or whatever. They went into like a really depressed state or something like that. And everything else kind of fell down around them. I would assume he stopped, studying, his grades dropped or something like that. But the problem here is now he wants to blame her for everything because she didn't reciprocate his love or whatever. Anyways. He's lost it. This dude's lost it. But I love this because this is where we get into sort of the more interesting thing that Tatsuki Fujimoto sort of introduced here. That yes, at some point, he says, I'm going to take you down. I'm going to have justice. The teacher says, no, look, just let everybody go. You can do whatever you want with me. And his response to that is, oh, even sex? Now, yes, this is the part where things get a little bit dumb. But let's be honest, it's one of those things where it's like through something that's sort of like disastrous, something really stupid can come from it. And obviously this idiot's mind just immediately goes to that because she said anything. So that's the first thing that's going to come to a sex deprived, very down in the dumps type of person. That's the first thing he's gonna think of, obviously. So he thinks of that. He immediately says sex. Wait, I said that? Yes, he said that probably because his mind's probably been in the gutter for the last like 10 years or something like that, because he's been depressed, probably locked up in his home, become some sort of degenerate. But this is the stupid part, because obviously Sasaki, thinking that she's a goddess, is upset about this, so he decides to stand up, even though we've got an agreement now. The children can get out of the classroom safely. The teacher is kind of trying to coast him into the situation, and probably would end up giving herself to this guy just to get the kids safe. She's doing a self-sacrifice for them. But Sasaki has to ruin that because he can't allow that. So he stands up, agitates this guy by saying that you can't, with your filthy self, touch the teacher. She's a goddess or whatever. And so Kawano this guy decides to shoot Sasaki. Now, again, here's where things get interesting, because at this point, he's like, okay, I'm probably going to die, but I couldn't allow this. Nobody else is speaking up. I had to speak up. I couldn't allow this to happen. And he's assuming at this point, his life is going to flash before his eyes. And it shows that bit. You know, it shows quite a few shots of his life. And it seems like Sasaki's life overall was pretty normal. It seems like he has his up and down. It looks like there's a brief shot of possibly him being bullied, but it seems like he has a good family, good upbringing. He goes to school, comes home, all that stuff. But then at some point, he's trying to zero in on why exactly he believes that Kawaguchi is a god. And it cuts to the point where, yes, he's doing this whole, future choice thing. You're selecting your future, getting your plans together and everything. And he doesn't want to tell the teacher, Kawaguchi, because he doesn't want her to laugh at him. Everybody that he has told his future plans, they laugh at him. And it's the fact that his father was an astronaut, and he always wanted to go to the moon. He wanted to be the first Japanese man to land on the moon, and he always dreamed that. But he also claimed that if he ever died, he would go to the moon. And so Sasaki wants to go to the moon as well. He wants to go there and see his father. But everybody laughs because they believe that the father's not there. Now, here's the clever here. This is probably the nugget of this episode for me, and it's really sort of the concept that the teacher brings up. She says, I am a god. Wait, are you making fun of me? No, I'm doing the same thing as you. I'm a god. I believe this thing, that everybody has their own common sense, what they believe the world works, how it works and everything. And so what she ends up proposing to him is the idea of, well, I'll support you. Go be an astronaut. Go to the moon and see if you find your dad. That works, right? Go ahead, do that. And then you can prove my common sense wrong, basically. You'll find your dad up there and prove me wrong. What I like about this concept is it's getting into the element of there's no zero percentages. It's the idea that no matter what people believe, no matter what their common sense is, there is no 0%. Everybody's going to have a belief, but in the end, do what you want to do. Seek out that dream, even though everybody believes that there's no chance, because there's never a 0%. There's always so little of a percentage chance that they decide to round it to 0, basically. So, in the end, anything can happen. And that's what we end up experiencing. When this guy shoots Sasaki, he catches the bullet. He just happens to, for that bonkers amount of percentage chance, be able to stop the bullet midair by closing a hand on it. Now, as we find out, as he goes and studies to become an astronaut, he realizes at some point this is literally impossible. But I do think that is sort of saying there is that idea of there's no 0% chances. You had a minuscule chance that you technically could have grabbed that bullet midair, and he just happened to do it. It's, again, the zero concept is interesting to me. The 0% concept is actually probably, again, the more interesting message that this is having, because I think that is sort of that element of always seek your dreams. No matter what people say, no matter how the odds are against you, always seek your dreams, because it's never a 0% chance that you'll achieve something. You'll never know unless you do it. And I think that's sort of what he ends up telling this Kawano guy, because yes, everybody's freaking out. He got the bullet. And the guy's like, what? How the hell did you do that? Who the hell are you? And he just plays it off like, okay, let's go with this. I'm from the future. I knew the trajectory of it. I was able to stop it. That's impossible. You can't be from the future. He caught the bullet. Yeah, he did caught the bullet. I caught the bullet because I'm from the future. That makes sense. Again, a little funny little moment here that just kind of like bookend this whole thing is that they're just all blown away, and he just goes with it because there's no way else that you can explain how this kid literally caught a bullet midair other than the fact that he's from the future and know the trajectory of it. But then he just plays off it saying, yes, I know your future, and you're going to go to, jail for 10 years, and you're going to study while you're in jail, and you're going to get out, and you're going to have a really great job, and yeah. So what do we do with Kawaguchi? You're not going to have sex with her. Because if you do that, the person in the future, the woman that in the future will appreciate that you're a virgin. Like, he just plays it off like, okay, let's do this. We're going to do this. I'm in for the future. It works. It was, I think for the most part, the beginning part of this episode was kind of like, this is a little weird that he's freaking out in his head. His teacher is at gunpoint. Everybody's life is in danger. This guy has a loaded gun, and all he can think about is he's going to have sex with Kawaguchi. And it's like, okay, can we take this a little more serious that this guy might shoot somebody? It just was a really dumb little situation. But I think the whole zero-sum aspect or 0% aspect and the little after thing there was pretty much the part that made this episode worth it. Yes, he ends up going to the moon, ends up contacting his sensei, says, hey, I found out I can't do that. So it's got to be your god powers. Oh, so it was me that stopped the bullet. It kind of had the fact that she laughed at that was not true. But it is sort of like left at like this question mark of, wait, did he actually, get powers to stop the bullet? Was this a 0% chance? I mean, even he says it. It's not physically possible that he could have done that. No matter what. Like, him stopping that speed by just the tissue of his skin is impossible. It can't happen. So there's got to be some sort of supernatural element that was added to it. I don't get why he says at the end that he can still stop bullets. I don't know what that means. I guess the idea that nothing is impossible for him, even in that moment. Like, he's going to still do things that seem impossible. Him going to the moon would seem impossible. Now he's going to do something else. I think that's what it's sort of saying there. But it was an okay episode. Again, it was probably easily the weakest out of all of them. Episode 3, on the other hand, which is Love is Blind. I really like this episode. This one probably got less to talk about than the previous episode, but I found it to be a lot of fun. Yes, the idea of Ibuki. This guy is madly in love with Yuri, his kohai. He's about to graduate the next day, actually. He's about to graduate the next day before he's going to go study abroad. And so he really badly wants to tell her that he loves her before he leaves. It was a cute little segment. The whole beginning part of it just really being that he's dead set on this. It opens up with the idea that he's going to confess to her. And it shows briefly this whale that has a heart on it. I really wasn't sure what that was supposed to be symbolizing. I'm assuming based on how it ends that was just his bravery underwear or something. Like, that was a symbolism that this is the thing that I'm going to do. I'm going to wear these today, because he does have underwear that has a whale on it that has a heart. And I'm kind of wondering if that was sort of a symbolism of, I'm going to wear that today because these are my let's go to work underwear. He purposely wore them just to give himself encouragement. But anyways, yes, he goes to school, says that, hey, lovely weather, well, let's go walk home together. And it's literally typhoon outside. And he's ignoring the fact that it's a typhoon outside because he's dead set on, this is what I'm going to do. They go to walk, and then suddenly the teacher stops him. Graduation ceremony's tomorrow. You got to prep for that. That's not important to me right now. That's the lowest priority for me right now. I got something very important to do. What are you talking about? You're going to do that? Oh, those eyes. Okay, he's determined. No matter what I can say, he's not going to stop. They go to leave, running through the rain, getting soaked. He's still trying desperately to tell her that he loves her. And then out of nowhere, some random dude comes up to rob them. Give me all your money. You kids have a lot of money, right? No, we don't carry our wallets with them. You rips off his clothes. Here, have this uniform. Sell it. Whatever. It's not important right now. I got something important to say. I have a priority right now. You're not one of them. This stupid alien. Like, where'd the alien come from? Out of nowhere, space invasion happens, and the alien has to confront Ibuki about the future of mankind. The alien has like a diagram that shows that, hey, we've come here to destroy your planet because we're going to stick a highway junction on it. Like, they're going to break open the inside of the planet so they can stick a junction into it, so they can pave, I guess, a pathway for their travel to go over it. Like, they don't want to just get rid of the planet so they can drive through it. They want to stick a junction on it, which was, what? Not important right now. I have something to say. It was a stupid segment. The whole thing was absolutely stupid about how much he just desperately wants to say that he loves Yuri before he leaves. And the fate of mankind can wait. It was a lot of fun, though, because we had some great seiyus that were working on this. The voice work was great. Just the reaction of Ibuki, like, constantly just having, like, these death stares to everybody. How it always, like, zooms on his eyeballs, and they're just, like, full of flames. And the entire time, Yuri just is standing around going, us, 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 just constantly ussing at him. Like, being very respectful to her senpai. Us, yes, us, us. It was dorky. I do like the whole little brief moment we get to see of the past of them. The idea that this guy feels like he was always useless, that he was never a good student council president, and nobody else was joining. It's always been the two of them, but she's always been at his side, always, you know, carrying the torch for him, always helping him out, encouraging him. It was super cute. Like, the whole flashbacks of the two of them was just super cute. Just seeing how much this girl means to this guy, and he's never felt like he was adequate enough without her. It was cute to have one moment where he actually goes, I'm gonna you've always been around to help me out. It made me realize it's gonna suck without you. Like, he can't say it. Like, he's like, it's gonna suck going forward, not having you around. The alien going back to the spaceship. The girl looking just like Yuri. The alien wife looked just like Yuri. I wonder if that was supposed to be a telling there, that the alien wife is just like an alternate universe Ibuki and Yuri or something. But yeah, him talking about how, oh, I was going to destroy them, but I walked in on a love confession. I can't destroy the planet right now. It's like the entire world is saved because Ibuki was struggling so much to confess his love to Yuri. And yeah, Ibuki realizing at the end that his love blinded him and that he has to worry about focusing and everything. The robber guy came back and gave him change. The robber, he still sold his clothes because Ibuki didn't have his uniform. The robber left, sold the uniform, and I guess came back to celebrate with Ibuki by giving him some change so that he can buy a soda pop. I'm like, what? Or maybe he just, like, gave him, like, some chump change he had, but in the end, the robber kept the uniform, I'm assuming. Again, because I don't think I've seen Ibuki with his uniform. He had to show his underwear, which, again, was a sign that he had the bravery underwear on, I guess. It was weird. It was weird. I think the only thing you can really draw from episode 3, honestly, is the element of, yes, love makes you blind. That's literally in the title itself. I think it does a really good job, technically, of portraying that, because this individual completely ignores everything that's happening as he's doing this. He ignores the fact the storm's happening. He's ignoring the fact that humankind itself is going to end. Yuri literally has to tell him, no, we're probably going to die. That's kind of important. No, it's not important. I think his response to that is sort of telling. It's the idea that no matter what tomorrow happens, it doesn't matter if I'm going to have regret for the rest of my life. I think there is technically a deeper subject here about how crippling regret is. If you've ever failed to do something that you wanted to do and you didn't get another chance to do it, say somebody passed away or moved away or whatever, there is that thing that constantly hangs with you, that you forgot to do something, you failed to do something. And I have to imagine that Tatsuki Fujimoto is sort of, you know, dealing with that, or he's dealt with that in the past, that idea that, no, this sucks. It is a fate worse than death to have this constantly linger with you. And love is one of those deeper elements. Failing to execute on love sucks. It does suck. And again, I think they did a really good job of sort of portraying that. It's obviously, again, played up like comedy, but it is a serious matter. Ibuki doesn't want to regret. But yeah, apparently his one-track mind is exactly what is charming for her. It was a cute end. I think that episode 3 was super cute overall. Was a really fun little episode. Again, kind of a nice bump up from episode 2 that was a little bit more creepy in a lot of regards and a little bit too heavy and off. Anyways, that's my thoughts on episode 2 and episode 3 of Tatsuki Fujimoto 1726. Really interesting 2 episodes. Again, probably easily episode 2 was the weakest out of everything so far. I think episode 3 might be close to it, but it's a cute, charming one. It's not like it's trying to do too much. I'm definitely looking forward to episode 4. I hope you guys will join me when I do that. Maybe I'll drop that sometime later this week. We'll see what ends up popping up for me to have to cover during the week. But I am really excited to talk about episode 4 because what I've watched of it, it's probably going to end up being my favorite episode of the entire series. I don't know, maybe the artist one might end up. It's going to be a struggle. But currently, I'm fighting between the artist one and this next episode. It's going to be super good. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button below. Like this content and watch more time more. Become a member of the channel. Until next time, y'all take care.